Your top stories this evening sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Guyana maintains Tier 1 ranking in Global Human Trafficking Report. Powers to reconvene Parliament should not rest with the executive, says the WPA. Cash transfers aren't sustainable, says Minister VICKRAM BHARRAT. And in sport, West Indies avoided a Syrian whitewash against Nepal. Amir Jangoo top scored with 74 and Ackeem Auguste 41. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Wednesday, October 1 edition of the HGP Nightly News. It's good to be back with you. Here's what you need to know this evening. We tell you first up that the U.S. State Department's 2025 Trafficking in Persons report has once again placed Guyana in the Tier 1 category, recognizing strong anti-trafficking measures, while also issuing new recommendations for further action. Tiana Cole opens her broadcast with this story.
Guyana's once again secured Tier 1 ranking in the 2025 Trafficking in Persons TIP report issued by the U.S. Department of State, marking the 9th consecutive year the country has been recognized for serious and sustained efforts to combat human trafficking. The annual TIP report evaluates global responses to human trafficking and places countries in tiers based on their efforts. A Tier 1 ranking is the highest classification given to governments that meet the minimum standards for eliminating trafficking and demonstrate consistent progress. Minister of Home Affairs Onij Walron described the achievement as evidence of government's unwavering commitment to protecting vulnerable populations and dismantling trafficking networks. She credited the work of the Ministerial Task Force on Trafficking in Persons, civil society stakeholders, NGOs, and international partners for strengthening Guyana's anti-trafficking framework. The 2025 report highlighted several notable advancements, including an increased prosecution rate, the conviction of a sex trafficker with an ordered restitution payment, expanded collaboration with foreign governments on cross-border cases, and greater funding for victim support and prevention efforts. Despite a positive ranking, the U.S. State Department issued 12 key recommendations for Guyana to further improve. These include expanding prosecutions, particularly in cases involving children, eliminating recruitment fees charged to workers, increasing spot-in inspections in vulnerable sections such as mining and logging, enforcing restitution orders more promptly, and ensuring convicted traffickers and complicit officials face adequate penalties. Minister Waldron affirmed the government's readiness to address these recommendations through stronger policies, rigorous monitoring, and expanded partnerships, adding that the administration is committed to both prevention and victim protection. The Ministry of Home Affairs also urged the public to report suspected cases of human trafficking by contacting the 24/7 Counter Trafficking in Persons hotline at 227-4083. 623-5030 or 624-0079. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Tiana, for your reporting. Parliament alone should decide when it meets and when it dissolves, not the executive. So says the Working People's Alliance. It is the argument of the Working People's Alliance that the powers to reconvene Parliament should be taken away from the executive and should be rest solely with Parliament office. Leader of the Working People's Alliance, Dr. David Hines, told a Wednesday morning press conference that such a proposal would mean constitutional reform.
That we should move to constitutional reform that gives the Parliament control over when it meets. That there should be a statutory date after an election, let's say the second Tuesday after the election or 2 weeks after the election or something like that, that says very clearly.
Parliament was dissolved on July 3, 2025, to pave the way for the holding of general and regional elections on September 1, 2025. President Irfan Ali has already pointed out that he has until November to convene the 13th Parliament, a statement that doesn't rest well with the WPA.
Of course, you have to make allowances for emergency, and that should be put in the Constitution. But we should take away control over the Parliament, the National Assembly, from the executive branch.
According to Guyana's constitution, each session of Parliament shall be held at such a place within Guyana and shall begin at such a time, not being later than 6 months from the end of the preceding session, if Parliament has been prorogued, or 4 months from the end of that session, if Parliament has been dissolved, as the President shall appoint by proclamation.
Right now, it is the government side that determines when Parliament meets. What is that?
Clerk of the National Assembly, Sherlock Isaacs, is already on record saying that his office is awaiting a proclamation by the President. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Mounting concerns about properly managing Georgetown's waste have prompted swift action from the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. Minister Priya Manik Chand met with officials from the Mayor and City Council this week, emphasizing that cleanliness in the capital is a national priority. Jada June reports.
Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Priya Manik Chand met with Walter Narayan, Director of Sanitation at the Mayor and City Council, to address growing concerns over the state of waste management in Georgetown. Discussions stem from complaints from residents and widespread dissatisfaction with the city's sanitation standards. The meeting focused on challenges hindering sanitation services and the urgent need for practical solutions. Minister Manik Chand stressed that keeping Georgetown clean must remain a top priority, noting that the capital should reflect the beauty, warmth, and hospitality of the Guyanese people. Following the engagement, Minister Manik Chand visited Starbuck Market, where she observed cleanup efforts and listened to the concerns about their environment. She acknowledged that the feedback will help guide long-term strategies for improving sanitation in and around the market, one of Georgetown's busiest commercial hubs.
Trying to figure out how we can sustain, not have the master of everything, how we can sustain.
Both the ministry and the mayor and city council pledged closer collaboration on sustainable initiatives to restore pride in the city's appearance while making communities cleaner, healthier, and more welcoming. Jada June reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Jada. There is more news ahead. Stay with us.
Make home yours every day with Courts. Oh yeah. Get value for your money. Courts have the best quality. Home is what you make it. Best prices and good credit. Courts have it all.
Courts has what you need to make home yours. You can get it all with easy payment plans using Courts Ready Finance. Courts, make home yours.
Welcome to SNL Electrical Inc., where lighting and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Thomas Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover a solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc., powering your life with elegance, quality, and care.
Roth Establishment. No job is too small or too large. We specialize in all types of fabricating machinery, excavator repairs, rice field pumps, and hydraulic hoses. Visit us at Lot 113, Block CC, Monrepo, East Coast in Marara, or call 220-9624-629-4021 or 619-7880. At Krishna Roth Establishment, no job is too small or too large.
HGP Nightly News, we tell you now that the issue of bullying in schools has once again taken center stage, with Education Minister Sonia Parag signaling her intention to take a firm but balanced approach since bullying is unacceptable and the response cannot be limited to suspension and expulsion alone. Jada June is on this story.
Minister of Education Sonia Parag has announced that anti-bullying will be a top priority for her.
Bullying is something that I will be looking at very heavily in the next couple of weeks.
According to Honorable Minister Parag, solutions must be fair and holistic, recognizing that different types of bullying affect students in different ways. She pointed out that simply suspending or expelling offenders may not always be effective, since some students may see expulsion as an escape, while victims are left feeling that justice has not been served.
It's simply, I'm going to suspend you, I'm going to expel you, right? Because some children want to come out to school, and you expel them, they might be happy to come out of school.
The Education Minister emphasized the need for a national consultation to hear from students, parents, teachers, and the wider community before implementing new measures. She stressed that the aim is to create a culture where children are safe, respected, and protected.
I want to hear from people. I want to do a national consultation to hear from people. And I think that's a great idea for something like this.
She underscored that addressing bullying is not just a school issue, but a national one, and promised that her ministry will be actively working on lasting solutions. Jada June reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Our developing story, cash transfers to citizens was a major theme of the recently concluded general and regional elections. Now, Minister of Natural Resources VICKRAM says he does not believe cash transfers are sustainable. Marvin Cato explains.
Cash transfer. No, it's a failed model. It's a model that has not worked in any part of the world.
That was Minister VICKRAM on the program Starting Point at the weekend, fleshing out issues related to cash transfers from oil and gas resources.
Let's look at the U.S. Right? Many of these people who have been called in for cash transfer, some of them live in the U.S. Some of them have relatives in the U.S. because we're so connected. And I want them to answer us if there is any cash transfer given to them in the U.S.
Minister Barrett does not believe cash transfers are sustainable. He is of the view that Guyanese in the diaspora are the ones pushing the issue, while Guyanese at home should be better off trusting in the approach of the government. However, it is important to note that in the state of Alaska, a portion of oil revenues is directly paid as annual dividends to all residents. That model has been a successful model over the years.
The U.S. is one of the most powerful countries in the world. The U.S. produces probably the most oil in the world among oil-producing countries. I've never heard of any cash transfer in the U.S.
It is important to note that on the recently concluded election campaign trail, the issue of transfers were mentioned to the electorate. Political parties made that issue one of its central policy issue proposed to the electorate.
This model, it can't work. It don't work. We will end up with a country with people who are not educated because they didn't see the need to go to school and further their education and to study and to build a professional career because they're receiving these cash transfers.
He also addressed foreign dominance not only in the workforce, but business-wise.
We will simply have a country where expats and foreigners will dominate, obviously, because our locals are just sitting back and waiting on their cash transfer at the end of the month.
Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Antonio Day tells us now that although the Alliance for Change does not have a seat in Parliament, David Paterson, acting leader of the party, says that the party will continue to hold government's feet to fire.
On numerous occasions, David Paterson has been critical of the government regarding several major incomplete capital projects, like the Wales Gas to Energy project. in his capacity as former Minister of Public Infrastructure and Member of Parliament. Like many other critics of the state, he has accused the incumbent of wasting taxpayers' monies on such projects. Although the Alliance for Change will not be occupying any seats in Parliament, Patterson says it will continue to hold the government's feet to the fire.
The party have already started exploring avenues to get our message out, holding the government accountable.
Patterson says that the Alliance for Change will continue to work on the ground by sensitizing the country on the occurrences under the ruling PPC government. He noted that the party will utilize social media to its advantage.
We'll be introducing some podcasts weekly. I think it's probably start bi-weekly on topics to highlight all these issues other than conferences. But nightly be even much more vocal because I have a little more time on my hands now.
With the We Invest in Nationhood, our partnership for national unity and for Guyana forming part of the parliamentary opposition, citizens eagerly anticipate the convening of the 13th Parliament. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
You're watching the HGP Nightly News. There is more news ahead. Stay with us.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanup, or construction project. It's simple. Step 1, give us a call. Step 2, we put down the bin. Step 3, load it up with all of your junk. Step 4, we take it away. That's simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there is no job that is too big or too small. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455.
Granny, what are you doing on the right of way? Like you're saying let the sunshine stretch your legs. Sunshine? Look, forget I ask. You know you're not supposed to be on the right of way, Granny. But I ain't digging, building, burning, or planting. No horsing wrong, no horse riding, or nothing for doing horses. But Sunshine? But you and Sunshine get out the right of way. Sunshine will be glad. Good.
Make home yours every day with Courts. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, ooh, oh, oh. Get value for your money. Ooh, oh, oh. Courts have the best quality. Home is what you make it. Best prices and good credit. Oh, Courts have it all.
Courts has what you need to make home yours. You can get it all with easy payment plans using Courts Ready Finance. Courts, make home yours.
Mom, did you tell him that Danny went to pick up KFC?
No, wait a minute. Are we really not going to tell him we already have KFC?
A tasty dinner shouldn't be that complicated. Crunch the routine and order a delicious KFC bucket for the best price. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Here in the HGP Nightly News, Guyana has embarked on a mineral mapping project to identify gold deposits and other minerals across the country. This will be in collaboration with the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, Ministry of Natural Resources, and US-based firm Global Venture Consulting.
Minister of Natural Resources VICKRAM BHARRAT noted that the mineral mapping exercise facilitated by the government and United States firm Global Venture Consultation will aid in achieving and balancing economic development with environmental sustainability.
This project will take us a far way to achieving this particular objective as laid out in the low carbon development strategy.
The last mineral mapping exercise was conducted in 1968, and this project aims to bridge the data gap and provide a more accurate understanding of Guyana's mineral resources. By creating detailed maps of targeted mineral zones, miners can focus on areas with high potential, reducing exploration costs and environmental impact. The project is expected to attract more international investors to Guyana's natural resources sector, creating job opportunities and boosting local industries.
This is a project that will enhance our reputation as a country, that will enhance the mining sector, that will show greater environmental stewardship while we continue to develop our country and create opportunities for our people.
Global Venture Consulting will utilize advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence and machine learning, to analyze data and identify potential mineral deposits. By identifying areas with high mineral potential, the mineral mapping exercise also aims to reduce the environmental impact of mining and promote more sustainable practices. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Pinktober 2025 was launched on Wednesday with a strong call for early detection and greater awareness. The campaign themed Act Now, Live Strong aims to inspire action and support for cancer fighters and survivors. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
One Communications, in partnership with the Ministry of Health and several non-governmental organizations under the banner of Champions of Hope, on Wednesday launched Pinktober 2025 as awareness and support for cancer fighters and survivors across Guyana continues. Speaking at the launch, which carried the theme, quote-unquote, Act Now, Live Strong, One Communications Managing Marketing Director Ian Lewis said the message reflects an urgent reality and a call to action.
Act now, because cancer does not wait. Live strong, because strength is not only surviving, but also choosing to take care of yourself and fight boldly.
Dr. Daniel Drapal, coordinator for chronic diseases at the Ministry of Health, reminded that breast cancer affects not only women, but also a small percentage of men. She underscored the importance of awareness and early testing.
We need to emphasize on early detection, as we notice that the uptake is very low right now.
Dr. Drapal noted that in 2025, the ministry introduced 4 mammogram machines across regions 2, 6, 9, and 10. However, uptake remains low despite service being offered free of charge. She further highlighted the need for stronger health education. Breast cancer survivor Rosalind Clark shared her personal journey, recalling that in 2016, she discovered a lump while visiting her sister overseas. On her return to Guyana, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and in 2025, cervical cancer. Clark, who comes from a family deeply affected by the disease, urged Guyanese to show continuous support to those living with cancer.
I want to encourage each and every one of us, those with fighting cancer and those who survive cancer, give them all your love and support. We are battling this sickness 365 days a year.
Another survivor, Renata Williams, said her fight began in 2022, shortly after becoming a grandmother. Even though she had not yet reached 40, she advised women to be proactive about their health.
My advice is, before you get to 40, you get that self-examination done every month.
Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
The vision for the agriculture sector over the next 5 years was on Wednesday ruled out as Agriculture Month was officially launched. Marvin Cato will tell you more.
As we launch Agriculture Month 2025, this occasion is not just a tradition, because people see this now as an annual feature.
That was Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa highlighting his vision for the next 5 years as the agriculture sector continues to expand and grow out, utilizing the resources from the oil and gas sector. This is all in a bid to make the sector more competitive and a major contributor to Guyana's GDP, the minister opined.
Guyana today is ranked #1 in the world in agriculture and food security. That's a tremendous achievement for us.
Agriculture has always been the backbone for development, and Guyana is carrying the tag, the breadbasket of the Caribbean, over the decades for this very reason. However, the ministry is tasked with moving the sector from a primary source base or raw materials base to a more agro-processing base, since agro-processing brings more value-added products to the market and strengthens one's export market. According to Minister within the Ministry, VICKRAM, this ensures the economy enjoys direct monetary investments and the foreign exchange.
Agriculture, as we know, is the backbone of our economy. Agriculture has played a very significant role in our nation's rich history. rice and sugar have traditionally been two important industries in our economy.
Minister Ramkissoon was adamant that the agriculture sector has contributed greatly to our economic development. However, one must note that to recapture those glory days, calls for immense work must be adhered to, since the sector continues to be plagued with issues, especially when world market prices drop, which invariably leads to farmers protesting.
Your government invested heavily in modernizing the sector with improved technologies, modern infrastructure, and value-added initiatives.
In closing out the day's importance, Dr. Gillian Smith, United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, in her delivery noted the importance of Guyana's role in food security.
The very fact that there is an agriculture month that is celebrated in Guyana shows how much commitment Guyana has to this process.
The month-long activities will be observed under the theme, Transforming Livelihoods Through Agri-Food Systems. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
President Irfaan Ali has declared a firm stance against foreign exchange abuse and capital fight in Guyana, and will be introducing an emergency 9-point plan to stabilize the nation's financial system. This decisive action was prompted by a significant spike in demand for foreign currency and a rise in suspicious high-volume transactions, especially those involving credit cards. Antonio Day reports.
During a critical meeting with the Governor of the Bank of Guyana, the Commissioner General of the Guyana Revenue Authority, and heads of major commercial banks yesterday, President Irfaan Ali has mandated the immediate implementation of new standard operating procedures to increase transparency and stop illicit financial outflows. To tighten control over import-related transactions, several new rules have been established. Any customer requesting foreign exchange to import goods must first present a commercial invoice to their bank. Upon the arrival of the goods, the customer must then submit copies of the certified invoice, the bill of lading, and a GRA compliance certificate to both the bank and the Revenue Authority. Banks are now strictly prohibited from releasing funds without this complete verification. Furthermore, all transaction documents must be forwarded to the Bank of Guyana, which will establish a new system to reconcile records from all parties. The plan also specifically targets fraudulent practices and the misuse of personal credit. President Ali painted a stark picture of the recent pressure on the foreign exchange market, highlighting data gathered by a specially convened interagency task force. He noted that while the government has intervened aggressively to meet demand, injecting $332 million in 2024, which rose sharply to $1.2 billion in 2025, with another $160 million spending, the demand continues to soar. In a move to bolster the local economy, the new regulation mandates that companies register under Guyana's local content laws and serving the oil and gas industry must maintain a local bank account. All foreign currency earned by these entities must be remitted to these local accounts, a requirement the government intends to formalize by amending the local content legislation. This ensures that a greater portion of the revenue generated from the nation's resources remains within its financial system. Finally, the government will establish a single window post-clearing system at the central bank to create a more integrated and transparent process. This system will ensure that all prior transactions between GRA, commercial banks, and the Bank of Guyana are fully reconciled before any new foreign exchange requests can be approved. Representatives from the commercial banks have reportedly expressed their full support for these comprehensive measures, acknowledging that the new SOPs will help ease the systemic difficulties they currently face and bring greater stability to the financial sector. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Live the island dream. It's your chance to be one of over 100 winners in the Island Dream promotion. Win your share of more than $1 million in cash and prizes, plus 2 all-inclusive weekend staycations for 2. And that's not all. Score coolers packed with Buster, Turbo, Altitude, and Viva. Just buy any can or bottle of Turbo, Buster, Altitude, or Viva. Find the code starting with BB and visit at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean on IG or Facebook for details.
The Island Dream, get money. Live the island dream.
Granny, what you doing on the right of way? Like you're saying let the sunshine stretch your legs. Sunshine? Look, forget I ask. You know you're not supposed to be on the right of way, Granny. But I ain't digging, building, burning, or planting. No horse in the wrong, no horse riding, or nothing for doing horses. But sunshine? But you and sunshine get out the right of way. Sunshine, I'll be glad. Good.
Mom, did you tell him that Danny went to pick up KFC?
No, wait a minute. Are we really not going to tell him we already have KFC?
A tasty dinner shouldn't be that complicated. Crunch the routine and order a delicious KFC bucket for the best price. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Good evening and welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Regional News. The Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro signed a decree granting him additional security powers in case of a military incursion into the country. The nation's Vice President Delcy Rodriguez said the decree would allow Maduro to mobilize armed forces throughout the country and give the military authority over public services and the oil industry. Maduro last week said he would submit the decree for consideration. It was unclear when it was signed. The powers would be valid for 90 days with the option to be renewed for 90 more, according to the nation's constitution. The measure comes as the U.S. has deployed a fleet of warships in the Caribbean, which Washington says is to combat drug trafficking through the region. Maduro's government alleges that the U.S. is plotting to remove him from power. The U.S. military in recent weeks has struck several boats it claims were carrying illicit drugs from Venezuela, killing those on board. Experts have questioned the legality of the move. The Grenada government has announced what it termed quote-unquote important changes to the Cuban workers program following a request made by the United States to review the program. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that it is important changes to strengthen the administration and oversight of the Cuban workers program have been implemented following high-level consultations between Grenadian and Cuban officials in Havana this month. The statement said that the discussions were led by Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development Minister Joseph Andal and including Health Minister Philip Telsford, and that it was agreed that all Cuban professionals serving in Grenada would work under conditions equal to those of their Grenadian counterparts. The Deccan Mitchell government said that the Cuban workers program has provided significant support to Grenadians, especially in the delivery of health care. In August, the United States Department of State announced that it had taken steps to impose visa restrictions on African, Cuban, and Grenadian government officials and their family members for their complicity in the Cuban regime's medical mission scheme, in which medical professionals are quote-unquote rented by other countries at high prices, and most of the revenue is kept by the Cuban authorities. United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio assured Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar of Washington's continued support for Trinidad and Tobago's Dragon Gas project, confirming that the U.S. will work to ensure the proposal aligns with the Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, license while limiting benefits to the Maduro administration in Venezuela. The two leaders met on Tuesday to review bilateral cooperation with energy security high on the agenda. Secretary Rubio acknowledged the significance of the Dragon Gas plant to Trinidad and Tobago's economic prosperity and regional stability, noting that the U.S. support will include steps to safeguard the project's implementation. A statement from the U.S. State Department said Secretary Rubio also commended Trinidad and Tobago's actions to counter transnational criminal organizations and reduce the flow of illicit narcotics and firearms through the region. The U.S. Secretary of State emphasized that deepening cooperation between the two countries will be critical to dismantling narco-trafficking networks and safeguarding regional security. Thank you for watching. I am Tiana Cole.
Let's join Delwyn Neblett for HGP's Sports Pulse.
Good evening, Guyana. I'm Delwyn Neblett with your HGP TV Sports Pulse for today, Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. The Garden City of Georgetown came alive this past Sunday as hundreds joined the Stride 592 Soccer Heart Runner Walk 2025. Determination and music filled the air as runners, walkers, and families gathered for a day of health and celebration. The event featured a 5K and 10K race as well as a kids' fun run. Spectators cheered loudly while volunteers encouraged every participant across the finish line, creating an electrifying atmosphere of unity and pride. The event also highlighted the fight against cardiovascular disease, Guyana's leading cause of death. The campaign brought communities, schools, and workplaces together, proving that movement belongs to everyone. Organizers hailed the day as a triumph in spirit, wellness, and togetherness. Moving into football, action resumes in the Georgetown Football Association Senior Men's Football League 2025 with two fixtures at the Police Sports Club ground, Ivleary, tonight. The first match, which commenced at 19 hours, features Northern Rangers versus the Rhythm Squad, while match number 2 will see Black Pearl taking on the Beacon FC. Organizers mentioned via social media that heading into the third round of this year's competition, the players of the match will now receive a cash incentive in addition to the trophy award that was presented in the first 2 rounds. Into cricket, West Indies avoid series whitewash in Sharjah. Player of the match, Ramon Simmons, picked up 4 for 15 as the Windies secured a 10-wicket victory against Nepal to avoid a 3-0 series whitewash in Sharjah. After being sent in, Kushal Bertil top scored with 39 from 29, and the captain Rohit Paudel struggled to make 17 from 19 as Nepal were bowled out for just 122 in 19.5 overs. Left arm Seema Jedi Blades also showed good control to pick up 2 for 20 as Jason Holder picked up 1 for 19. When the Windies responded, Amir Jangoo top scored with an unbeaten 74 from 45 as Ackeem Auguste scored an unbeaten 41 from 29 to secure the consolation victory. Nepal made history earlier this week when they defeated the West Indies in the second T20 International to claim the first ever series victory over an ICC full member nation. Also in cricket, Demerara crowned 2025 Under-13 Inter-County champions. Captain Lamar Sitcharan led from the front as Demerara secured an emphatic 180-run victory in their final match against the GCB Select 11 to secure the 2025 Under-13 Inter-County title. Sitcharan, who finished with an aggregate of 218 runs, the most runs of any batter in the tournament, scored a classy 55 to back up his record, breaking 144 in the previous match, and along with fellow opener Nathaniel Ramkellowan, who top scored with 64, and Afras Khan, who scored an unbeaten 52, propelled Demerara to a formidable total of 232 for 3 off of the allotment of 40 overs. The GCB Select 11 were then bowled out for just 52 in 23.2 overs as Deshaun Ramnorth bowled a magical spell of 5 for 5 and Jasani Craig picked up 3 for 8. Ramnorth and Berbice's Adrian Emmanuel, who picked up the best bowling figures in the tournament's history, grabbing 7 for 12 against the GCB Select 11, jointly finished with the most wickets in the tournament. And finally in cricket, Force Fusion crowned first ever Flair Under-21 T20 champions. In the grand finale on Sunday, Force Fusion defeated the Emerald Warriors to be crowned the inaugural champions of the Flair Under-21 T20 tournament. Batting first at the Multino Sports Club ground on Thomas Lands, Emerald Warriors were bowled out for 66 and 15.1 overs. The Fusion bowlers chipped in evenly as Leon Sissel, Jaden Dowlin, Shane Prince, and Afras Budu each picked up 2 wickets. In response, Fusion's openers made it look easy to secure a 9-wicket victory as Ramprasad Ramnorth, who was unbeaten on 39, and Anthony Lim with a touch 24, guided them to 69 for 1 in just 8.4 overs. Individual awards were presented to Ramprasad Ramnorth for the most runs and the man of the match as Micah Amsterdam picked up the most wickets and MVP award. Andrew Lim was given the award for the best fielder and super striker as Nathan Bishop was recognized as the emerging player of the tournament. In conclusion, Minister within the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honourable Stephen Jacobs, continued his series of engagements with national associations and federations on Tuesday, featuring key sporting bodies including the Athletics Association of Guyana, the Guyana Darts Association, the Guyana Mixed Martial Arts Federation, and the Guyana Motor Racing and Sports Club. According to the minister, the exchanges highlighted the unique challenges and successes within each discipline and opened the door to practical ways of strengthening programs, enhancing athlete development, and creating more opportunities for participation at every level. That's it for this edition of the HGP TV Sports Pulse. I'm Delwyn Nevlet, reminding you to stay in the game.
Guyana maintains Tier 1 ranking in Global Human Trafficking Report. Powers to reconvene Parliament should not rest with the executive, says the WPA. Cash transfers aren't sustainable, says Minister VICKRAM BHARRAT. And in sport, West Indies avoided a series whitewash in Sharjah. Amir Jangoo top scored with an unbeaten 74 and Ackeem Auguste 41. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.